Guys, I love video games. Ever since I first played Super Mario 64 on my cousin's old DS, I've thought video games are the most fun a person could have. To this day, I think video games are the most enjoyable form of entertainment. Not the most consistent, respected, or quantitative, but I think they're the best. And I think a lot of you will understand where I'm coming from when I say a big flaw in video games is how temporary the medium is. So many old games released in the 80s, 90s, and even the early 2000s that were considered revolutionary look lame under today's lens. Not only lame, but not fun. There's games released every year that 2 years later have next to no fan base. There are games that, without any new installments, have been left to die. Look at the Arkham series, Gears of War, Bioshock, Prototype, Yooka-Laylee, Hello Neighbor, Left 4 Dead, Silent Hill. So many franchises left out in the cold, only to be reminisced upon. Some come back, like Resident Evil, Crash, or Red Dead, but most die. Then there are the games that linger. Even without any new releases, even without any support from their publishers, there are games that are just here to stay. Dark Souls is one of those games. The game initially released in 2011 and its final installment in 2016, but Dark Souls 1 remains talked about and modded today. Sure, it's a smaller fan base, but I'd say it's marginally bigger than the games talked about earlier. Its mere infamy as the game that's hard keeps it alive in the gaming consciousness. Arma would fit here too. It's a small but undying, loyal fan base. Then there are the games that are built to last. Games that defy all odds, no developer support or even developer malice. They become stronger with age. They build communities that are welcoming, massive, and here to stay. Those games are Super Mario 64, Super Smash Bros. Melee, and Team Fortress 2. Before I get into why these games have lasted as long as they have, I need to properly illustrate the odds that these games were, and are, still against. Mario 64 and Melee are console exclusives, meaning that they're limited to being played on hardware that isn't made anymore, at least until a suitable alternative gets put out. But that hasn't happened yet because Nintendo doesn't like the fact that fan bases exist around their old games, especially fan bases that thrive off breaking the game. So, SM64 and Melee players emulated the games for everyone to play, and then the communities modded the games to be even better. In Melee's case, you have full mods like Project M, which turn Brawl into Melee, and Slippy, which give full online support to Melee, and it's actually better than Nintendo's official online service that I pay for! Mario 64 became ROM hack central, with an entire sub-community of players and modders sprouting up, making more and more unique versions of the game, to the point where the only commonality between ROM hacks was that you play as Mario. Sometimes. Seriously, go watch some Simple Flips right now, and watch him play some stuff from Kaze. Very talented creators in this community. Very, very talented. Team Fortress 2 has a much more tragic story. The game launched in 2007 on Steam, and received continuous updates from Valve for many, many years, until 2017, when it received its last major update. Since then, the game, rather than dying, has actually seen... Do I have this? I have this right, folks. The game, rather than dying, has actually seen its largest number of players ever seen, even though, technically speaking, the game is at its lowest point ever. Completely abandoned by Valve, ridden with one-hit killing bots and no sign of any major content update, the game just keeps trucking. Me and my friends play it once a week, guaranteed. The lobbies are consistently full, and we consistently have a fun time. Nothing is going to stop Team Fortress 2. It's too fun. Plus, all of these games have had next to no competitive support from their publishers. Melee tournaments are entirely privately funded, and TF2 tourneys don't exist. It's fiction. The point is, these games don't have it easy. I would put CSGO on this list as a game built to last, but that game has had consistent support from Valve. It's pushed hard on Steam for people to play, and it's had consistent updates. I'm not 100% confident that CSGO would have as many players as TF2 without that support. I could be very wrong though, I'm not a CSGO player. So despite the hardships, the age, and the lack of official support, why are these games still being ravenously played to this day? Well, I have 3 reasons. Before you watched this video, you probably knew about these games. You definitely knew about one of them. They're infamous. You might know about the crazy-ass Melee players who get carpal tunnel from playing Fox-only Final Destination until they turn old and gray, or the BLJ and the incomprehensible nature of SM64 speedruns. At the very least, Meet the Medic has 62 million views on YouTube. And all this infamy is great for the games, because just knowing about a game means you're one click away from being a fan of the game. I watched Meet the Medic, I watched Lazy Purple, I downloaded TF2. I played Smash 4 and Ultimate, I watched Lemon's HBox documentary, Then I downloaded Dolphin. I played Mario 64 as a kid and really haven't stopped since, but that doesn't count. It doesn't count. These games are not only infamous, but they're... Case in point, Terminal Montage. If you've even seen one of this guy's vids, you've seen every major SM64 and Melee meme. As for TF2, the game is inherently silly, causing tons of memes to pour out into the internet. It's just a fun time for everyone. What do I mean by deception? Well, when you look at these three games, knowing nothing of their reputation, who would you think that they appeal to? Everyone. They appeal to everyone. You see Mario on the cover, and you see this big funny Russian dude, and you go, yeah, I like that. Or more importantly, the parents go, yeah, I like that. It's not like seeing the CSGO man and his gun and his big gun friend, or seeing just one gun dude, or seeing just one gun dude, or see... That's another video. The point is, Mario, Smash, and TF2 are not some hardcore ultra gamer appeal if you're just an outsider looking in, or if you started playing early in the game's life. They look like a fun platformer, a party game, and a goofy team shooting game. But if you know anything about these games, or at least aware of their reputation, you know they're anything but casual. Hey, quick editor's note, I know TF2 is not a very hardcore game and actually has a majority casual audience, but I just would like to point out there's a lot of depth to the gameplay. Mario 64 is the most speedrun game of all time. Melee is essentially the first esport ever, and TF2 has some of the most skillful, committed, competitive players I've ever seen. The games on the outside appear to be silly little games to play with your friends, but just underneath the surface exists a whole underbelly of tech and astonishing feats of gaming that few games are brave enough to implement. Basically, these games appeal to a casual audience, but as all those casual players continue to play the game, they realize how much depth there is, especially when those casual players see what the top level players can do. These games will never die, simply because the gameplay has enough depth that even if you play these games your whole life, you'll see something new. Seriously, do you really think that we would be playing some 20-year-old Smash game hauling around CRTs to every tournament if the game wasn't that much better than its modern counterparts? Hell no! Ultimate is a great game, but Melee is that much better, has that much more depth to it. Ultimate, in theory, has everything going for it. Modern hardware, more characters, better graphics, more accessibility, more support from Nintendo, but Melee will always be played, because no game does what Melee does. I'm not gonna take the time to prove that to you, but I'll talk about it some other time. I will say this. With most things, it takes 10,000 hours to become an expert. With Melee, 10,000 hours is a good start. I've talked a bit already about content creators in this video, and that's for good reason. Without them, I'm convinced these fan bases would not be half as strong as they are. Good content helps everyone. The content helps people who are already into the game because it's special made for them. It's rewarding watching content on your interests, isn't it? Kind of like how you're doing right now. Content also helps people who aren't into the game because it shows, from at least a view count, that there's a lot of people interested, and maybe they could get into it too. Really, really good content, like, I don't know, animations, show that people have enough love for a game to put in ridiculous amounts of work. It's a huge reason people get into TF2. All the great SFM animations out there, there's so many classics. Team Fabulous 2, Anonymous, Demo Mesa, and once again, Lazy Purple. Mario 64's content is a little less personality-based than Melee or TF2 to some extent. Most of the initial interest comes from hearing about the speedrun, watching the video on it, and then after you watch the speedrun, you're either 1, completely lost and okay with it, or 2, you want to know what the hell you just watched, you look for more info, and eventually you fall down the Panenkoic 2012 black hole. Melee's content is in the form of 2 key videos, the Smash Brothers documentary and the Hungrybox documentary. Both can be found for free on YouTube and are responsible for a lot of Melee players. After watching either one of the documentaries, people will hopefully watch Awesome Sauce, who's essentially Panenkoic 2012 and Vsauce combined, and then they'll download Dolphin. If I had to show one video to people in an attempt to get them into Melee, it would be the video titled What Melee is All About by my man Cornflake. If you like Melee and haven't watched this video, go do it. It's got everything. Beyond that, just watching all the great personalities on display in an average Melee video makes you want to see more. And since Melee's been well documented for over a decade, there's a lot to see. Basically, if you want TF2 content, go watch Uncle Dane Lazy Purple. If you want Mario 64, watch Simple Flips and Pancoke 2012. If you want Melee, watch Awesome Sauce and any players that you're interested in. Before we start wrapping this video up, I have a sub-point to make about these games' content. They all have the spiciest of memes. Seeing memes piques interest in people to play the game equally as much as good content, I think. The stupid Colossal Desk Engineer video, the WOMBO combo, and the Parallel Universe joke all contributed to my playing of these games immensely. Would you look at that? The Engineer video has a Dark Souls reference. What did I tell you? The current year is 2021. We're coming out of this pandemic, and these games have not slowed down one bit. If anything, they've all grown bigger. But as the pandemic ends, we all collectively look to the future. And I want to know, 10 years from now, what other games will be sitting here among those built to last? Well, I think that, obviously, Minecraft. This game's getting constant updates, yes, but that's not why people come back. The game, like our other trio, allows the player to do what most other games don't dare to do. Whatever you want. Another game I think is Hollow Knight. This game just rocks, go play it. I love all these other games, but Hollow Knight whoops all their asses. Mother 3, Undertale, Grand Theft Auto 5, Terraria, Mario Kart Wii, Celeste, Cuphead. All these games I think have potential or have basically already proven that they're built to last. I'm sure I missed a few, but feel free to yell at me in the comments. Melee is sick, Mario 64 is crazy, and TF2 is fun. From 5 hours to 5,000 hours, these statements ring true for all players. If you haven't played these games, please go do it. TF2 is free to play. The other two you can just emulate, so you have zero excuses. Even 20 years from now, I think that people will be playing these games. As long as there are gamers, there will be more time to save, more rockets to jump with, and more Melee to play. Thanks for watching. Drive safe. Hey folks, seriously, thanks for watching. I know it's been quite a few months at this point since I've posted, but it means a lot that you guys watch these videos and leave all the very, very nice and supportive comments. I'll probably post an update video soon, giving you guys a sort of like a plan for what this summer will entail as far as content. The next video most likely will be the Berserk video that everyone and their mom has been asking for, so look forward to that. Anyway, seriously, drive safe, wear your seatbelt.